At the old master's birthday banquet, Naomi arrived fashionably late with her male assistant in tow. Augu, go sit across from us. Elian's shy. He's used to sitting beside me. I didn't hesitate for even a second. I stood up directly and sat beside the visibly displeased old master instead. Naomi raised an eyebrow in surprise. Then she gently pressed the nervous little assistant into the seat that had originally been mine. Soon, my phone buzzed with a message. Are you mad again? I already told you. I'm just taking the kid out to broaden his horizons. Stop getting jealous over nothing. I didn't reply. I calmly sipped my drink as if nothing had happened. Another message followed. After the banquet, let's go try on wedding dresses together. Okay, don't give me the cold face anymore. I laughed. Seeing that, she smiled too from across the table. What she didn't know was, my smile meant there was no need to try on wedding dresses anymore, because just 10 minutes before she arrived, I had already finalized the cancellation of our engagement with the old master. A flight reminder popped up on my phone. Departure in 3 hours. Naomi, once this banquet ends, you and I will go our separate ways forever. Chapter 1. Grandpa, may you be blessed with happiness, good health, and many more years to come. Naomi Lee raised her wine glass toward the old master with a bright grin. Oh right, this is my new assistant, Elian. He's hardworking and reliable, so I specially brought him here today to celebrate your birthday. Elian stood up nervously with his glass. Wishing you good health. Old Master Lee's face remained dark. You unfilial girl, are you trying to piss me off to death? Who told you to bring an outsider into the house, instead of caring about your own fiancé? You're fussing over some assistant. Elian's eyes instantly reddened, and he looked helplessly toward Naomi for support. The motion of her fingers playing with the wine glass paused. Her gaze shot toward me. Did Augu complain about me to you again? Humph. He couldn't even be bothered to complain about you. I'm not blind or deaf. You think I don't know about all the ridiculous things you've been doing? The old master was already furious because of the broken engagement I had just proposed, so his tone was especially harsh. Meanwhile, I acted as if none of this concerned me, eating and drinking normally. Naomi immediately got angry too. I only brought Elian along on a business trip and stayed nearby for a few extra days. How is that ridiculous? Hearing that, I instinctively laughed. Her so-called business trip existed only because Elian had mentioned wanting to visit H City. She had forcibly cancelled the partnership our families had already finalized and switched to a company in H City instead. Accompanying him was the real purpose. The business trip was merely an excuse, and it was precisely because of that incident that my parents finally realized Naomi no longer loved me the way she used to. That was why they agreed to let us end the engagement. What are you laughing at? She asked coldly. You know perfectly well why you needed to go to H City. There's no need to raise your voice at Grandpa. Having her true intentions exposed, Naomi immediately snapped. Augustine, I haven't even married into the Koo family yet, and you already think you can interfere with decisions in my company? Changing business partners was a strategic decision for the company's development. What's wrong with bringing my assistant on a business trip? Stop using the jealous alpha male mindset to throw baseless accusations at me. Silence filled the room. Elian's timid gaze met mine. Immediately, I remembered the posts he had uploaded on social media. Which direction do I need to bow in to meet an angelic goddess like this? I just casually mentioned wanting to visit H City, and she cancelled the partnership with her fiancé's family, switched to a company in H City instead, and used a business trip as an excuse to take me on a fully paid vacation. The pinned comment was a photo from the Lin Hai Hotel. I only booked one room, and she didn't say anything about it. What do you think that means? I'm getting shy just thinking about it. The comments were full of people saying the woman definitely liked him. They encouraged him to go for it boldly and win over this untouchable rich heiress. But she already has a fiancé. Isn't this kinda wrong? Below that were countless replies encouraging him instead. He liked every single one of them. In just 5 days, he had posted 30 updates. Every tiny detail of his time with Naomi in H City had been documented. Those photos looked ordinary on the surface, yet every one of them carried an unmistakable intimacy. They stabbed into my eyes, and into the heart that had loved her for over 10 years. Meanwhile, during all that time, every message I sent her went unanswered. She did answer one phone call, though, but it was Elian who picked up. You're looking for Naomi? She's in the shower right now. Chapter 2. From that moment on, I decided to break off the engagement, perhaps realizing her attitude had been too aggressive. Naomi Lee walked over to me and wrapped her arms around my neck. Leaning close to my ear, she whispered softly, "Today's Grandpa's birthday banquet, so stop making a scene. Okay, come upstairs with me and look at the gift I brought back for you from H City." I stood up and avoided her touch. "No one's making a scene with you. Your business has nothing to do with me anymore." Then I gave old Master Lee a slight bow. "Grandpa, I'll be leaving first." He looked at me with reluctance in his eyes. "All right, if anything happens in the future, You can still come to Grandpa. My eyes grew a little hot as I nodded. Naomi watched the scene unfold, confusion flashing across her face as she frowned. Then she suddenly seemed to figure something out and laughed. Grandpa, who exactly is your precious darling here? Agu treats every word you say like an imperial decree. At this rate, he's definitely going to keep watching me every single day. I don't have any freedom at all. The old master had no mood left for jokes. He directly announced the end of the banquet before turning and heading upstairs. Elian no longer looked as timid as before. He had become noticeably more talkative. President Ku, I don't know exactly how I offended you, but no matter what, I want to apologize first. Naomi works really hard, so please stop tattling to the elders and getting her scolded all the time. I raised a hand to stop him. You didn't offend me, and I have nothing to tattle about. Since you care about her so much, why not marry into the Lee family and stay by her side openly? No need to go through so much effort making excuses and playing games. Elian's face instantly filled with humiliation, his eyes turning red. I didn't. Enough. He's just an innocent boy who just graduated. How could he possibly have that many schemes? Naomi took out a handkerchief and handed it to Elian. As for you, stop using your family background to insult people. You really have no grace or generosity at all. I stared at that beautiful face that was still as elegant as ever, bitterness surging through my chest. 20 years of knowing each other. 10 years of love. So this was how she saw me. Forget it. None of it mattered anymore. Naomi was still comforting the visibly upset Elian. I turned and walked straight outside. The moment I reached the courtyard, my footsteps stopped beside the swing near the flower garden. That had been my gift to Naomi on her 18th birthday. This swing is only for me to sit on, and only you're allowed to push it. All right. It's only for Miss Lee to sit on. I'll only push it for you, Agu. I love every single gift you've ever given me. How are you so good at understanding me? Because I love you. I love you too. A hand grabbed my arm, and I turned my head. Naomi's smiling eyes overlapped with the face from years ago. For one brief moment, I felt dazed. Who said you could leave? We agreed to go try on wedding dresses together. Do I look like I've gained weight recently? You won't dislike me for it, right? I was just about to speak. Wow, this swing is so beautiful. Naomi, let's try it together. President Ku, please help push us. Elian had already sat on the swing while speaking. Naomi looked as if she wanted to say something, but when she saw my calm, expressionless face, she smiled again. Sure, Agu's really strong when he pushes. She walked over and pressed closely against Elian. Then she waved for me to come over. I didn't move at all. You really are unbelievably narrow-minded. Elian glanced at me. Mimi, you sit down. I'll push instead. Okay. Higher. Too high. No. The exact same words instantly pulled another voice into my mind. A sweeter, livelier voice. Naomi, do you want to go even higher? Yes. Just push harder. I'm not scared. Really. Who was the one crying her eyes out last time? You were so scared your legs went weak after getting down, and I had to carry you back. I'm immune now. I definitely won't this time. Elian's laughter dragged me back to reality. Naomi's so decisive and ruthless at work. I never expected her to be this scared. You're so annoying. I already told you to stop. Naomi lightly patted her chest. Her cheeks flushed red from excitement. All right. Stop playing around. Agu never lets other people touch this swing anyway. You're the only exception he's barely willing to allow. Chapter 3. Elian suddenly pulled out his phone and tugged on Naomi's arm. I want to take a picture to remember this moment. Mimi, come join us too. She let out a helpless sigh. I seriously don't understand you young people. You even want to commemorate something this small with photos. Her tone carried the coquettish complaint I knew best. She pulled Elian onto the swing beside her, leaning her head lightly against his shoulder. Mimi, your skin looks as good as mine. People would totally believe you're still in your early 20s. You've got quite the sweet tongue. Bet you've charmed plenty of girls before. No way. I've only ever said things like that to you. I walked alone toward the front gate. The conversation behind me gradually faded into silence. After returning home, I grabbed my suitcase and headed for the airport. My phone vibrated. Agu, let's postpone trying on wedding dresses for a few more days. Brenda and the others organized a gathering and asked me to come over. Don't be mad. Okay, once this busy period is over, we'll go to Paris for our wedding photo shoot. I turned off the screen and rested my head against the car window, watching the scenery slide backward outside. Paris. It had originally been planned 2 months ago. I spent 2 whole weeks researching and planning everything. Different weather conditions, tourist spots, lighting setups, photographers suited for different shooting styles. Every detail had been arranged according to her preferences. But Elian's arrival ruined everything. Naomi took him everywhere she went. Officially, she claimed she was training him, but the frequency of her replies to my messages became lower and lower. Whenever she said she was busy, What I actually saw from Elian's posts was her accompanying him to check out newly opened dessert shops near the company. She went with him to enjoy the thrill of ditching work and to watch newly released movies. Whenever I confronted her afterward, she always had an excuse ready. I was only testing the desserts there. If they're good enough, our company will have another option for afternoon tea in the future. We had just finished visiting a client and happened to pass by the cinema. Elian was rarely in the mood to watch something, so I didn't have the heart to ruin his excitement. She even skipped my birthday party and our anniversary. Disappointment piled up little by little like this. When I brought up breaking off the engagement to my parents in Canada, they strongly opposed it. It wasn't until last week, when Naomi actually cancelled 2 long-term business partnerships just for Elian, that they finally realized how serious things had become and agreed to the engagement being called off. Old Masterly had always doted on me since I was young. Faced with my determination, he could only compromise. In the end, it was that foolish girl who let you down. Don't be afraid. Even if you can't become my grandson-in-law anymore, Grandpa will still care about you the same way. Another message from her popped up. Augu, I forgot to give you the gift I bought for you. I'll bring it over tomorrow. Yuri, not still mad at me, are you? If you don't reply soon, I'll assume you don't want it anymore. They're cufflinks, you know. I'll give them to someone else. Your temper is getting worse and worse. You promised you'd always tolerate me, but now you're going back on your word. While waiting in the departure lounge, Naomi called again. I figured it would be better to tell her personally. That way Grandpa Lee wouldn't have to explain it to her himself. The moment the call connected, noisy chatter came from the other end. Miss Lee, you really brought your little assistant here with you? President Ku's probably furious enough to blow a gasket. Naomi Lee gave a soft snort. He wouldn't dare. I'm already the one in power at the Lee Corporation now. I'm not going to let him order me around whenever he wants like before. That would be so humiliating. Another voice sighed. If you ask me, young Master Augustine is fine for dating and flirting, but marriage? That's probably a disaster waiting to happen. He's way too old-fashioned. Someone else chimed in. He's heaven's favorite son. After all, when has he ever suffered any grievance growing up? This past month is probably the only time Miss Lee managed to upset him. Honestly though, I'm surprised he endured it for this long. Naomi seemed to have drunk quite a lot. Her voice carried obvious intoxication. Chapter 4. What's there that he can't tolerate? It's not like he can stay high and mighty forever. I'm a heaven's favorite daughter too. Everyone deserves their own space, and people should mind their own business. Elian's voice turned soft and affectionate. Mimi sis, stop drinking already. If you keep going, you'll really get drunk. Brenda teased with a laugh. Look at you, catching on so quickly. Calling her sister already. Guess you figured out that our Naomi loves being called that. Brenda sis, stop making fun of me. Calling her President Lee all the time feels too distant, and she doesn't like it. I like it too though. Why don't you call me sister as well? Naomi seemed to spit at Brenda jokingly. You're such a player. Your hookups could probably circle the whole city, and you still dare to flirt with my person. Her words instantly triggered loud laughter from the crowd. All right, your person. You're really protective of him. By the way, when you two went to H-City last time, did anything actually happen or not? Naomi cut in coldly. Nothing happened. We're perfectly innocent, so stop making wild guesses. Brenda's mischievous voice rang out again. Oh really? Because I heard from Elian that you two only booked one room. The call abruptly disconnected. I could already guess who hung up, but honestly, it was unnecessary. After blocking the number, I pulled my suitcase and walked toward the boarding gate. After landing, my parents personally came to pick me up. Another person came along with them. Augu, long time no see. I froze for a moment, unable to react immediately. Distant memories flooded into my mind. You're Avery. She smiled sweetly. It's been nearly 10 years. I'm surprised you still remember me. She reached out to help carry my laptop bag. It's okay, I've got it myself. Son, why have you gotten so skinny? Come on, when we get home mom's going to make you some proper meals. I gently pulled down the hand caressing my face, deliberately suppressing the ache rising in my chest. That's not true. You just haven't seen me in too long. My father also spoke up. Avery recently started a major collaboration project with our company. You'll need to put more effort into it from now on, so your mother and I can retire earlier. Dad, I just got off the plane and you're already assigning me work. Even someone heading to the gallows deserves a moment to catch their breath. You brat. Always talking nonsense. The group of us chatted and laughed as we walked toward the parking lot. On the drive back to the estate, I came across another one of Elian's posts. She got drunk, so I brought her home, but now she's holding onto me and refusing to let me leave. What should I do? The attached photo showed Naomi lying on the bed with her eyes closed, cheeks flushed red. The pinned top comment read, her meaning is obvious, she wants you to stay with her tonight. Be brave, bro. Tonight's your chance to break through the class barrier. He replied, I'm not aiming that high, but I really do have to stay and take care of her. She feels awful whenever she gets drunk. The comments below were once again filled with encouragement and people waiting eagerly for updates. A laugh escaped me unconsciously. Avery turned to glance at me, the corners of her lips lifting slightly, but she said nothing. After recovering from jet lag, I spent time in the yard trimming flowers and plants. From the living room, Avery, apparently busy with something, called out to me, "Augu, your phone keeps vibrating." It's a call from China, but there's no saved contact name. I was focused on trimming excess branches and replied casually, "Avery, help me answer it first." "Okay." With a swipe of her finger, Avery answered in her crisp, cool voice, "Hello, who is this, please?" Chapter 5. Naomi stared at the automatically disconnected call, an inexplicable irritation rising in her chest. She had gotten drunk last night. When she woke up, she found Elian leaning against the bedside. "Sorry, last night you kept holding my hand and wouldn't let me leave, so I just helped you wipe your face and neck." His awkward expression triggered fragments of memories in Naomi's mind. Memories related to Augustine. She closed her eyes and rubbed her temples before coughing lightly. "If there's nothing else, you can head back now." Last night, she had mistaken the person beside her for Augustine. That was why she had refused to let go of his hand. Elian pursed his lips, as though wanting to say something more, but seeing Naomi pull out her phone to make a call, he could only leave silently. She opened her chat window with Augustine. Only then did she realize that starting from a week ago, he had stopped messaging her first, and he had not replied to any of her messages either. After thinking it through carefully, she understood. Augustine was still angry about that incident. She sighed. Everything about him was good, except he was far too rigid and boring. Back when they were younger and more immature, she used to think men like him were reliable because they kept themselves clean and would never fool around. But things were different now. She was the one in power at the Lee Corporation, and appearances mattered. She could not let people think she was still someone who only followed wherever he led. Taking Elian to H-City had been a spur-of-the-moment decision. Besides, she did not want every single thing tied to the Koo family. The partnership between their two families had existed since their grandparents' generation. She wanted to achieve something with her own abilities, not simply inherit a ready-made empire and act as its figurehead. It was only one project. If it changed, then it changed. Naomi could not understand why Augustine simply could not let it go, and the more he refused to let it go, the more stubborn she became. Surely he was not trying to interfere with her decisions and challenge the authority of her position as the head of the company. As for Elian, she merely found him amusing and teased him occasionally whenever she was in a good mood. It was also a way to let Augustine understand that she would no longer revolve around him like before. It was perfectly normal for all kinds of admirers to gather around someone in her position. People had to grow up eventually. He needed to learn how to become a qualified husband. With that thought, Naomi tossed her phone aside and walked toward the bathroom to freshen up. Another 2 days passed. Augustine still had not contacted her. Sitting in her office, Naomi found herself increasingly distracted. Even Grandpa had been cold toward her lately. Thinking back to the interaction between Augustine and Grandpa during the birthday banquet, she felt an indescribable sense of unease. For two people who saw each other every day, they had acted as though they were saying goodbye forever. Suddenly, realization struck her like lightning. Something was wrong. She immediately picked up her phone and dialed his number again. But all she heard was the cold mechanical voice informing her that the number was temporarily unavailable. He had blocked her, and the reason the previous call had gone through was because she had used another number he rarely saw. After the initial shock, Naomi actually laughed from anger. That old-fashioned fossil was becoming more childish with age. Elian walked into the office carrying a stack of documents. "Mimi, there's a new milk tea shop that just opened in the mall next door. Will you come check it out with me?" Naomi glanced at him, irritation still simmering in her heart. "During work hours, address me by my title. Did the company hire you so you could slack off on the clock?" Elian's expression changed slightly before quickly shifting back into his usual aggrieved look. "Mimi, why are you being so mean to me?" Naomi closed her eyes briefly. "When you're at work, act like you're at work. If there's nothing important, leave first." Elian felt wronged and could not understand the reason behind her recent abnormal behavior, but he did not dare ask too much, afraid of ruining the innocent persona he had carefully built. The office fell silent once again. Naomi twirled the fountain pen in her hand, feeling an unbearable heaviness in her chest. Then she suddenly remembered something. She immediately made another call. "Make the arrangements. I'm going to try on wedding dresses tomorrow." Chapter 6. Confusion came from the other end of the line. But, wasn't the wedding dress already cancelled? President Koo already paid the cancellation fee. What? When did that happen? Naomi's voice trembled without her even realizing it. The other person was startled by her reaction. 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Grandpa's birthday banquet. She abruptly hung up the phone, grabbed her car keys, and rushed out. Her car screeched to a stop outside the old family residence. Grandpa. The moment she charged into the living room, she was met with a slap from the old man. And what are you still coming back for? You might as well just anger me to death. Naomi covered her swelling cheek, disbelief filling her eyes. Grandpa, you hit me. And why shouldn't I hit you? I spoiled you rotten growing up, and now you've become completely lawless. After venting his anger, Old Masterly sat heavily onto the sofa, still fuming. Naomi swallowed her grievance. Grandpa, on your birthday, what exactly did August say to you? He cancelled the wedding dress I was supposed to wear. As she asked the question, panic spread through her heart, as though some uncontrollable answer was about to surface. He's already been gone for days, and the first thing you notice is only the wedding dress. Naomi's heart sank instantly. What did he mean by gone? Grandpa, what do you mean by that? Old Masterly slammed his cane hard against the floor, producing a dull thud. The engagement between the Koo family and the Lee family has been cancelled. Augustine Koo brought it up personally. Just look at the mess you've caused. Naomi Lee's pupils shrank violently, her voice trembling faintly. The engagement is cancelled. He brought it up himself. Why? Grandpa, what exactly did he tell you? At this point, Old Masterly instead calmed down. What do you think? Shouldn't you be asking yourself that? Ever since that intern assistant showed up, your soul's practically been stolen away by him. Do you even remember that you have a fiancé? Naomi froze. Just because of Elian, Augustine wanted to break off their engagement. When would he stop acting so impulsively and emotionally? At that moment, her anger mixed with a panic she desperately tried to suppress. I never did anything to betray him, Grandpa. He's only this childish because you spoiled him too much. I'm the CEO of a corporation. Can't I even have my own space? I just slap. Her other cheek swelled as well. The anger Old Masterly had barely managed to suppress instantly flared up again. You, that business in H City where you stayed in the same room as that assistant, he told me every detail personally, and you still dare say you didn't wrong him. How did the Lee family end up producing something this disgraceful? Naomi was stunned senseless by the slap. Stayed in the same room. Then she remembered, while they were in H City, Elian had booked a presidential suite, 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. She had never cared about such details, but how had Augustine found out? Why don't you ask that precious little assistant of yours exactly what he's been doing? Seeing through her thoughts immediately, Old Masterly exposed the truth directly. Grandpa, where did Augu go? She had already sent people to search for him, but there was no one at the Koo family residence. That day, he flew straight to Canada, and only now do you come asking. Back then, when he insisted on cancelling the engagement, I tried my best to stop him, but now I finally understand why he was so determined. You truly have disgraced the Lee family. He flew to Canada to see his parents. Alongside shock and anger, Naomi also felt an inexplicable sense of grievance. Augustine had condemned her without even hearing her side of the story. After all these years, he still lacked even this little bit of trust in her. She returned directly to the company and immediately summoned Elian to her office. Mimi, you were looking for me. Elian still wore that same innocent and pure expression. Did you post anything related to me on some social media platform? Chapter 7. Naomi stared directly into his eyes and asked coldly. Answer me honestly. Elian trembled instinctively. And no, I didn't. She saw through him instantly, and her expression darkened at once. You'd better tell the truth, otherwise, I have plenty of ways to make you talk. Don't force me. Elian had only just entered society when he encountered a heaven's favorite daughter like Naomi. She had treated him so well that he became the center of attention within his social circle. He had never seen such a frightening look in her eyes before. I only shared some daily life posts, but I never showed your face. Give it to me. She suddenly barked the order, holding back tears. Elian shakily opened the posts and handed over his phone. Naomi read through each and every post, especially the comments underneath them. Her expression became darker and darker. Who allowed you to post these things? And who gave you the confidence to think I could ever be interested in you? Elian's tears finally spilled uncontrollably. Her words had crushed his pride completely. Naomi, I just wanted to gain followers. This is my first job, and all my classmates envy me. So I thought. Looking at him only irritated Naomi more. Delete everything immediately. Then go to HR and process your resignation. Elian lifted his head in disbelief, even forgetting to cry. Why? I don't want to. You obviously liked me so much. Why are you treating me like this? Naomi let out a mocking laugh. I have a fiancé. Why would I like you? What exactly is there about you worth liking? Then why did you cancel the collaboration with the Koo family just to take me to H City? Why did you allow me to stay in the same suite as you? Skip work with me to check in at places, watch movies with me, And even bring me to your grandfather's birthday banquet. Weren't all those things because you liked me? Elian genuinely could not understand how a person's attitude could change so drastically. Naomi impatiently smashed the decorative ornament on her desk. What do you know about business matters? As for everything else, I just thought it was entertaining and teased you for fun. More importantly, I wanted to see how Augu would react. Elian's body swayed violently. So the affection and favoritism he believed he had received were merely tools to test Augustine's emotions. He was nothing more than a tool. No, not even that. Just a dog. The crushing disparity was too much for him to bear. With reddened eyes, he ran out of the office. Naomi sat in her office chair, lost in thought for a long time. Memories suddenly flooded into her mind. Ever since she first learned how to speak, the adults around her would ask whether she liked Augu. Looking at the little boy who always tried to act mature beyond his years, she had felt delighted. She would happily answer that she liked him and wanted to become his bride when she grew up. Her words always made the adults laugh warmly. Later, they gradually grew older and came to understand romantic feelings between men and women. She knew that someday, they were destined to marry. She wanted to place every beautiful thing she had before him, as long as it made him happy. But once people grew up, many things inevitably changed. Taking over the company made her feel both exhilarated and exhausted. She needed a different kind of freedom. But Augustine's way of thinking seemed never to have changed. And so, a slight deviation appeared in their relationship. To her, it had never seemed like a major problem. But now it appeared that she had been the only one thinking that way. A powerful wave of panic suddenly overwhelmed Naomi. She made a call and instructed her secretary to arrange a trip to Canada. Some things would surely be resolved once they talked face to face. Chapter 8. I gradually began taking charge of the collaboration project between our company and Avery's family business. Avery also moved her office right next to mine. During lunch break, I suddenly remembered something. Oh right, didn't you answer a phone call for me on my second day back? Who was it? Avery thought for a moment, her gaze deepening slightly. Oh, the other side hung up as soon as I answered. I assumed they dialed the wrong number, so I didn't mention it to you. I nodded. That made sense. All my friends back in China had saved contact names. Augu, tomorrow's our day off. Where do you want to go? After spending this period together, I could clearly feel Avery's feelings for me. Avery, I know how you feel about me, but I just ended a relationship, and my thoughts are still a mess. I don't want to treat you like a tool to help me move on from the past. That wouldn't be fair to you. People online always said that the best way to forget an old relationship was to start a new one, but I disagreed. If the heart had not been completely cleared out, there was no room for someone new to enter. She smiled gently. You really haven't changed at all. You're still so considerate toward other people. Her words made me somewhat embarrassed. When I was little, I used to accompany my mother back to my grandmother's hometown, and Avery had been my best playmate there. Later, when she went to university, her whole family moved to Canada. We never saw each other again after that. Separated by 10 years of time, our understanding of each other still remained frozen in our youthful memories. To suddenly jump into a relationship now would be irresponsible for both of us. Sorry. I don't really know how to say this properly. She nodded in understanding. You don't need to apologize. I understand everything. So don't pressure yourself. We're still business partners and childhood friends. We can take things slowly. Augu, when it comes to you, I've always been patient. Back home, eating the meal my mother prepared, I suddenly felt that there was no greater happiness in life than this. Son, how have things been going between you and Avery lately? Focused on eating, I nodded casually. It's been pretty good. Whenever something's unclear, she reminds me. You don't have to worry about the collaboration project. My mother sighed helplessly. That's not what I'm asking about. Only then did I look up at her and blink. Do you know why she went abroad in the first place? I looked puzzled. Wasn't it because uncle and aunt wanted to expand their business over here? My mother's expression turned nostalgic. That's because she heard you already had a marriage arrangement with the Lee family. She was heartbroken and insisted on studying abroad. Your uncle and aunt worried about her, so they simply moved the whole family overseas with her. At this point, she sighed again. That child is truly wonderful. All these years, knowing how good your relationship with that girl from the Lee family was, she never disturbed you. Even when she wanted to know about you, she only asked your aunt to quietly inquire with me. I slowly put down my chopsticks, unable to process everything immediately. Avery, had she always liked me? I had never realized it. Perhaps because my gaze had always been fixed solely on Naomi. I had never once noticed the eyes silently watching me from behind. My mother continued speaking. All these years, she's always been alone. You don't know this, but the day she heard about your broken engagement, she was happier than anyone, yet she refused to let us tell you. She said she didn't want to pressure you and wanted to leave everything to time. Honestly, that child has been thoughtful ever since she was young. So that was the truth. The next day, when Avery and I met again, I could not help feeling slightly awkward. At that moment, Grandpa Lee called. Augustine, that girl Naomi ran off to Canada to find you. Don't pay attention to her. Just make her hurry up and get back here. I was not surprised in the slightest. I understand. Grandpa, please take good care of your health. I'll come back to visit you when I have time. He answered with several repeated good. Chapter 9. After work, Avery and I walked out of the office building side by side. Are we going home for Auntie's cooking tonight? Or eating at a restaurant? I glanced at the sunset spreading across the sky and did not want to waste such beautiful scenery. Let's go to the seaside restaurant for French cuisine. Okay. The moment we reached the parking lot, a figure suddenly rushed in front of us. Startled, Avery stumbled backward. Careful. I grabbed her arm with one hand while steadying her waist with the other. You're not allowed to touch anyone else. Only after hearing the voice did I look up properly. Naomi aggressively shoved Avery. Have you lost your mind? After regaining my balance, I shouted at Naomi. Augu, you're yelling at me. You're yelling at me because of this woman. Her expression of hurt and disbelief only made her seem ridiculous to me, compared to you flaunting your little assistant around in public everywhere. What's wrong with me protecting my good friend? Naomi's eyes instantly brightened, and she hurriedly explained. I know, you're jealous because of him. I already fired him. The things he posted online weren't true. It was all one-sided on his part. Nothing ever happened between us. As for the H-City trip, it was enough. I cut her off sharply. I don't want to hear any of this. Naomi, our engagement is already over. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. Stop bothering me. I had absolutely no patience left to listen to her explanations, but she still stubbornly persisted. No, you misunderstand me. You don't trust me. But I never betrayed you. I have to explain this clearly to you, Augu. I won't agree to breaking off the engagement. Avery stood silently beside me, her dark gaze fixed steadily on Naomi. No betrayal. Then what exactly do you consider betrayal? I asked coldly. Whether or not something actually happened between you and him doesn't matter. What matters is that you gave him the opportunity to believe something could happen between you two. Or rather, as long as you wanted it. Something could happen at any time. Naomi, isn't this exactly the lesson you wanted me to learn? She froze. Shock and disbelief filling her eyes. Augu, I didn't mean it like that. I just wanted us to each have a little space. We've been together for too long. I didn't want every aspect of my life to feel restricted. A mocking laugh escaped me. They're all just excuses. None of the things you mentioned required a third person to accomplish. Traveling with him, checking out cafes and restaurants with him, watching movies together, even bringing him to Grandpa's birthday banquet. All of it was just a compliance test for me. If I kept tolerating it again and again, then after marriage, you'd only do things even more outrageous. I can already predict it. Let's end it here. There's nothing left for us to talk about. Just as I turned to leave, she stepped toward me, but Avery immediately reached out and blocked her path. Augu has already made it clear that he wants nothing more to do with you. Miss Lee, harassing someone like this is honestly beneath you. Naomi's vicious glare shot toward Avery like something tangible, her entire body radiating a frightening aura. What right do you have to call him Augu too? I'm the only one allowed to call him that. And whatever happens between him and me is none of your business as an outsider. Avery smiled gently. From the current situation, it seems you're the outsider now. Naomi turned toward me, her expression unreadable. Augu, what exactly is your relationship with her? I took Avery's hand and slightly lifted my chin. She's about to become my girlfriend. Naomi's breathing faltered, her eyes trembling violently. That's impossible. We grew up together. We only ever loved each other. How could you fall for someone else? Although Avery maintained a calm expression on the surface, her hand trembled faintly in mine. I no longer paid Naomi any attention and simply led Avery into the car. As the engine started, I glanced once through the rearview mirror. She stood there alone, motionless, staring fixedly at the departing taillights as if frozen in place. Chapter 10. When we arrived at the restaurant parking lot, Avery finally spoke. Augu, what you said earlier, was it only to get rid of her? I shook my head. I told you before that I wouldn't treat you like a tool. What I said was sincere. In fact, I had already planned to tell you tonight that my heart has finally been cleared completely. Avery let out a delighted laugh, unable to stop smiling. Really, Augu, you really? I leaned closer and gently lifted her chin. Then I pressed a kiss against her soft, beautiful lips. All right, I'm hungry. Let's eat first. Naomi did not return to China. Instead, she lingered around wherever I was like a restless ghost. Because of Grandpa Lee's request, I forced myself to patiently persuade her. You should go back. The company needs you. And don't make Grandpa worry. Her eyes turned red, as though she had suffered an enormous grievance. No, if you won't go back, then neither will I. Augu, I can't accept this. You sentenced me to death just like that. I really can't accept it. And what if you can't? I replied indifferently. There's no possibility for us to return to what we once were. You should give up sooner rather than later. But she refused to listen. Later. Because the person in power at the Lee Corporation remained absent for too long, more and more problems began surfacing within the company. Old Master Lee had no choice but to personally step in and handle things. At his age, he could not withstand such exhaustion, and before long, he fell ill. Only then was Naomi forced to return to China. Before leaving, she came to see me one last time. Compared to a few days earlier, she looked far more drained. Her once meticulously styled hair was now disheveled, and her entire body seemed enveloped in a deep sense of lifeless despair. Agu, I've thought about many things lately. I know I was terribly wrong. You've always been someone with strong principles. Someone who can't tolerate even a grain of sand in your eyes. It was my stupidity that tainted our relationship. So now you don't want me anymore. But I swear, I truly never intended to betray you. I did not believe her words. Still, wanting her to leave as soon as possible, I simply answered, all right, I believe you. Let's leave it at that. Even after returning to China, Naomi continued trying to contact me in every possible way. She constantly reminisced about every little moment from the more than 20 years we had spent together. Perhaps she believed that with such deep feelings as a foundation, one day I would eventually turn back to her. But she was wrong. Sunk cost should never factor into major decisions. She no longer held even the slightest place in my heart. Half a year later, Avery and I returned to China together with both our families. We both wanted our wedding to be held back home. An invitation was also sent to the Lee family. That day, Naomi entered the venue while supporting Old Master Lee. Standing on the stage, my eyes met hers from afar. She had clearly dressed up carefully, yet her entire being resembled an empty shell devoid of life. I calmly nodded in greeting. Then I lowered my gaze and placed the ring onto Avery's finger beside me. One sentence of "I do" sealed our vows. Fireworks burst brilliantly across the sky, celebrating our joyous union. Ever since childhood, I had always known that one day I would marry Naomi. Yet fate was unpredictable. Now, the person standing beside me was the one who had once silently watched over me from behind. That grand, hidden love unknown to others, accompanied by unbearable loneliness, had finally reached its perfect ending. Naomi stared blankly at Augustine in his white suit, elegant and breathtakingly handsome. The dull ache in her heart grew sharper and sharper. This version of him had appeared countless times in her dreams over the past decade. Clearly, they had only been one tiny step away. Yet she had personally lost the boy whose entire world had once revolved around her. Naomi understood clearly. For the rest of her life, she would never truly move on from this.